what are some of the tools that you most recommend for being able to take a pulse of your website and finding some of these technical issues? Because some of these things are just, it's hard to find out if they're even going on.
So the two tools that we use the most, and it's not necessarily related, this isn't really as much on the technical side as more it is on the link building side, is SEMRush and Majestic. They're both great. Majestic will give you a breakdown of all the incoming links, so you can check. You can run a report monthly and see what new links are indexed to your site, because Google Analytics doesn't give as much transparency around that anymore. It's very helpful. SEMRush is great for seeing the keywords, some of the keywords that you're showing up for. Again, Google Analytics hides that now. It's also good for doing competitor research. So I think those are two pieces of software on the link building site, I think that we interact with all the time. There's a handful of great tools out there that'll do an on-site audit for you. There's at least 5 or 6 good ones out there. I think WooRank is one, or not WooRank. I don't remember the name of the tools, but there's it'll come to me and I'll mention them. You guys probably have. You guys are probably a bit more current than I am, so you know the latest and greatest.
Well, they're going to mention it, so I'm going to beat them to it. Yeah. Screaming Frog. If you guys are in the small to mid website, meaning you're in the 1,000 URLs, not in the 100,000 URLs, I think Screaming Frog is very valuable as a crawler for the technical aspect. You can download it for free, and then if you want to go to over 500 URLs that you want to crawl to get a technical assessment of all page and things that are going on with the site, you're going to have to pay over 500 URLs, but Screaming Frog is a good starting point. If you are in the 100,000s or millions, and then you really have the things that you need to figure out with your site on the technical aspect, I think deep crawl is one of the greatest things that we've seen lately. In the strategy aspect, I agree, SEMRush is a big one. In competitor aspects and in following keywords and understanding what's going on with those keywords and the rankings, it's really important. And then one last thing is SEO profile. Link Profiler, if I'm not wrong, that name is the one that it gives you the biggest amount of backlinks to your site. And I think that one is really cool when you combine with a few of the products that Google has, like Google Fusion tables, so you can have some cool visualizations of how many links are going to the most important pages on the site, and then you can do some assessment based on that.
Yeah, outside of tools that look for errors or links, I think it's really important just to look at page speed. So there's a lot of page speed tools out there. Kind of going back to the real big focus on mobile. I mean, there's a lot more penalties on how slow your page loads within a mobile environment. So one thing that I always did back in both last agency and current agency is just being that one guy in the meeting room. It's like, is this going to affect the page speed of the actual website or the page? If it's too heavy, either video code or maybe even an image gallery post. If that's going to just take up way too much speed, if it's going to download more than 2 seconds, then it's not worth it. And just to revisit the technology for that page.
For page speed, for those of us who aren't, I mean, obviously there's a lot of page speed. I mean, just Google page speed tools, and it'll more you have to go. Google has a really good one called the Page Speed Insights tool, and it assigns specific scores for desktop and mobile page speed. One of the interesting things about the mobile assessment that it provides, it also gives you a UX score, and that primarily based on speed, but also the size of tap targets. If you have render blocking JavaScript above the fold, that gets a little technical, but still it's actually a very good tool for just sort of a quick shot. One of the, I personally use SEMRush also. It's a great tool. I also use Search Metrics in tandem. They're probably two very close competing companies. I use both. If you're just into sort of really quick data pulls, you can use an Excel plugin called SEO Tools for Excel. It's free to download if you don't mind this ad that the author put up, and it's just annoying. This is the most annoying thing. It's there for 5 seconds. And it really is, I mean, if anybody wants to know how to convert, do that. You know, because I willingly spend the 40 pounds or whatever it is to get that thing to go away. But it pulls in a lot of different data through Excel formulas. It has direct integration through Google Analytics APIs, Majestic APIs. If you use Ahrefs, which is another link, a backlink analysis tool, it pulls in that data too, social stuff. It's really a full service tool, just without kind of the flashy UI, right? So.
Well, I'm surprised nobody mentioned Google Webmaster Tools or Google Analytics, but
Well, that's how we started. That's how we started. We assumed that you guys wrote that down, right?
Yeah, those ones go without saying. I mean, they're both free. As PJ mentioned, there is some limitations on some of the stuff they give you in there, but that should be your starting point. If you're not already doing that, you need to do that. I will give a +1 to deep crawl as well, which mentioned if you have a really big site, like hundreds of thousands, millions of pages, Screaming Frog is a great tool, but it tends to kind of crap out on sites that are that big. But the deep crawl is a great one to go really, really deep.
The tool I couldn't think of actually did say the name. It was WooRank. I just texted our search director. It's really good for smaller sites. So if you're the webmaster for your own business's site, putting it through WooRank will let you know if you're missing a site map, if your meta tags, your image tags are off. Just kind of the basic DIY surface level stuff, kind of the first building blocks that you can do yourself. WooRank is great for that. Low barrier to entry.
Really quick on that, I think that going to a little bit of basics of stuff, I think that moz.com is the site that you guys provide you all the possible value from the most basic things that you guys can understand about SEO to a little bit of the most complicated things. And they have tools for every of the things that they explain. And a lot of those are very intuitive, and then they give you a very detailed understanding of what's going on. So I think that for a starting point, if you guys are thinking into hire an SEO, or if you guys are thinking into try to understand what's the kind of issues that you guys have, I think that is the main resource that I would start on.
Could you repeat it again?
moz.com.
MOZ.com.
Great, thank you.
And I also wanted to give a +1 to Matt's vote of search metrics too. That's a good one. I think you can get a free account and get some limited data, but they're both basic accounts, like $69 a month. And the cool thing about search metrics is, anytime you're tracking with any of these tools, it tends to be dependent on the keywords that you're tracking. So if you put in 1,000 keywords, then you're going to see your performance on that. But who's to say that if that's your best 1,000 keywords, then you might get an overinflated boost of self-confidence. If it's your worst 1,000, then you're probably underrating how well you're performing. And tools like Search Metrics are pretty cool because they crawl millions of queries and kind of come up with this SEO visibility score, which is essentially, this keyword has X amount of search volume. Based on our data, the click-through rates on the rankings, go from 35% to the first ranking down to 1% for number 10, and so on and so forth on other pages, and kind of give you a visibility based on what's the rough estimate of traffic you can get. And that's kind of cool because it can give you an idea of how you stack up against competitors in terms of how often is my website showing up in the search landscape, right? So that's a good tool that I would recommend checking out as well.
Yeah, plus also it can assess the optimization levels of your content compared to, say, like the top 50 competitors in the space. And so if you find that you're not fully exploring a topic, you point out specific areas in which you can improve your content.